Hey everybody, Mike Steele here with Barbecue Champs Academy. Man, we have got a great show lined up for you tonight. Cannot wait. We're going to have Mr. Chiles Gridlin with Wolf's Revenge Barbecue. Man, this is one of the top teams out on the East Coast. Amazing KCBS cooker, and we were just chatting just a minute ago. We've got a lot of stuff to dive into. Unfortunately, Aaron is under the weather. He is not going to make it with us tonight, so he's sick. Lee had an emergency. He had to go. A friend of his is on hospice, and the hospice was called out, so he's going to run over there and visit with him shortly, and he said he might be able to jump on here just a little bit, so hopefully he can make it, and I hate to hear that about his good friend. But in the meantime, we're still going to have a butt-kicking show. We had a great week last week. We got some more great guests lined up for you here over the next few weeks, so I hope that you are with us week in and week out. Chris, we appreciate you being here. Mr. Slade, thank you for joining us. Mr. John, we appreciate you being with us up there in Wisconsin. I hope the weather is good for y'all. I know one thing, it has been absolutely amazing down here. Beautiful weather. Man, these are the kind of days that I like. I know the heat's coming to Louisiana and the high humidity, but man, we sure do like our falls and our springtime. So let's see, Alan checking in from Wichita. Appreciate you being here. We got Mr. Bobby in here from right down the street from the Terrell, Texas area. Man, he had a solid, I think, fourth place chicken this weekend and a little cook-off up in Henrietta. Man, I had a great time up there last year and really wanted to go back, but just did not get a chance to go up there this year. So it just got a lot going on, and I got a couple cook-offs coming at the end of the month. We got one the end of April and the 1st of May, and then, man, I'm going to have quite a few cook-offs coming in the latter part of May and into June and maybe a couple into July as well. So, Mr. James, appreciate you being here. As y'all come in, let us know. We'll give you guys a shout-out real quick. Go give a few more minutes for folks to come in. We don't want them to miss any part of the show with Mr. Chiles being with us. And if y'all have questions tonight, certainly ask. This guy's a wealth of knowledge. We'll see if we can pick his brain a little bit and see if we can find a few pro tips that may help you guys out. He knows quite a bit about the KCBS. He's on the board. And so if you have a question, I'm sure there may be something that he can answer. Yeah, Chiles is a legend. Yeah, he is. I mean, I remember when Lee was on his East Coast tour cooking KCBS for the first time. Every time I kept hearing him in the competition, I was like, man, Chiles is kicking your butt, man. He was like, he kicks everybody's butt. He's a good cook. So anyway, it was just Wolf Revenge. And I was like, man, that guy's got it going on. Let's see. Received my first GC with the help of Texas Oil Dust LLC, chicken fried barbecue, and a few other amazing products. Awesome, Chris. Man, that is absolutely great. There's nothing like getting that first grand champion underneath your belt. So usually when the first one comes, they start rolling in a little bit after that. So Mr. Jason, appreciate you being with us this afternoon, brother. And it looked like you had a good time maybe down there in Baton Rouge this past weekend. I really wanted to come. But man, my schedule just did not allow me to get away. So let's see what Lucas is saying. I was lucky enough to be parked next to him at Sonny's way back in 2018. Well, there you go. Mr. AJ, thank you for joining us tonight, brother. Appreciate it. Man, it looks like you're locked in pretty good on that outlaw bounty hunt. That is a very, very, very tight race. I'm telling you, the top 8 is so close. It is crazy. And it's anybody's game who can make that top 5. I see a couple of y'all are locked in pretty close. But, man, that's going to be a heck of a chase right to the end. And I think it ends the end of April, if I recall. So, yeah, they hurt my feelings on chicken. Yeah, man, they hurt the feelings on a lot of people from what I heard. It was just kind of all over the board down there. Let's see who else we got. We got Mr. Barbecue 911 from San Angelo, Texas. We appreciate you being with us tonight. Thank you. And yeah, we got some good stuff lined up for you guys for the next few weeks. We got some great guests coming on, and I hope y'all enjoy it. Make sure, if you would, I'm going to ask this now since we got a few folks on here. If you would help us get the word out about our podcast. You know, right now, if you're watching, I see we've got a lot of folks here on Facebook. If you're watching this, there's a place you can go in and share this. Guys, if y'all don't mind, hit that share button and help us get this out to more of your friends and stuff as well. It really will help us out. We would appreciate it if you do it. Mr. Brian Fox, man, appreciate it. Man, if I recall now, man, I think you won that Galveston rodeo down there. And if I recall that correctly, man, congratulations. I heard there was quite a few teams down there. And man, congratulations, AJ. What we got here? It's a tight race for sure. You chasing next segment? Yeah, I'm probably going to try to chase next segment. I was really wanting to do the first because I just had more cook-offs close by. But man, I had 7 in a row to do, and I just felt like I was so far behind after that first month. I only got a chance to do one, and I was just like, man, I'm gonna let you guys duke it out, and I'll come in. I'll come in the second segment. Hopefully, I can get a chance to make a run for it there. So. Yes, sir. 284 teams. Dadgum, man, I didn't realize. Hey, Brian, what sanction body was that? That was one thing me and Lee was talking about the other day, and I don't think it was IBCA. I think they had their own sanctioning deal. So, but man, 284 teams. That's pretty awesome. Congratulations. So, anyway, well, I tell you what, we've got a few folks already on here, and we're gonna go ahead and get ready to bring in our guest for tonight. And thanks for giving us all a chance. Yeah, you're welcome, HA. I don't think y'all had to worry about it. Oh, it's a non-sanctioned event. Okay. Anyway, let's get our guest in here. Man, this guy is a freaking barbecue legend, Mr. Chiles Gridlin with Wolf's Revenge. Let me see if I can hit the button and get him in. Hey, Mr. Chiles, how you doing, brother? Uh-oh, I don't hear you. Got it muted. Or do I? Oh, hold on one second. There we go. There we go.
Somebody muted me.
I think I did it when I hit the button to bring you in. I think I did hit that. So, man, glad to have you on our show tonight, brother.
I'm as fine as frog hair.
There you go. And heard that one before, so.
Yeah, heard that. My grandfather used to say it all the time. The only thing finer than frog hair was frog hair split 4 ways.
Yeah, that I have heard that one, so that's pretty funny. Well, man, I am certainly glad to have you on, first-time guest on Barbecue Champs Academy. We really do appreciate it. And, man, I know that you have got quite the stories to tell. According to Lee Hickle, man, you've got a lot of knowledge in the KCBS circuit for sure. Do you primarily cook just KCBS?
Yeah, it's about all we have around here on the East Coast. I have cooked others. I've cooked IBCA.
Oh, okay.
I've cooked FBA. I think those are the only 2 sanctioning bodies. Usually, like somebody mentioned, Sonny's. The first year we did Sonny's, I think it was an FBA. It wasn't KCBS. The second year it was KCBS.
KCBS, okay.
Yeah, I've done a few different ones, and haven't found a competition yet I don't like. That
right.
Whole IBCA thing where you get an hour between turn-ins. Got to be careful with that one. You get a little relaxed. You start having a beverage. The sun's out, and next thing you know, it's like, oh, I've got a turn-in I got to do.
Right. That's for sure. That is for sure. So, hey, you be like Jordan. You can always be a few seconds late. we was ragging Jordan last week about that. He was in our chat, and I hate that happened to him. But I mean, it can happen. I mean, if you ain't careful, it can happen.
It's only a matter of time. I don't even want to say anything because the more I cook, the more superstitious I get.
Right.
I'm so superstitious that I'll get a gorgeous brisket and I want to take a picture of it or the pork butts I'm trimming. And I'm like, nope, because I've done it before. I'll post a picture of that and it comes down. Always because I screwed up, right?
Right.
I'll do something wrong. And then I'm like, yeah, I did it to myself. Even talking crap with the other people, and the trailers around me or whatever.
Right.
Give them a hard time. I found out that the more humble I go into it, the better I end up doing.
Yeah.
So just keep your head down and keep working.
That's it. I got a few guys we like to trash talk a little bit, but it's just a few little ones. That's it. But I'm like you. I'm there to cook, So, all right. So let's talk about what do you cook on? Because I heard something about rotisserie,
rotisserie. It's based off of an Old Hickory CTO.
Okay.
One of the first cookers I had in competitions was a CTO. Actually, it was an Ultra Q.
Okay.
I got it from Mike Mills when I was, this was 2007. I was up at the Big Apple Barbecue, not as a barbecue competitor. They invited me up there to cook Brunswick stew.
Okay.
I did a lot of fundraising around the area with different churches and whatnot. So they had me come up there and I'm cooking my Brunswick stew and didn't know anything about competition barbecue. And some team next to me on one side, this guy, Chris Lilly, Big Bob Gibson. And right next to me on the other side is some guy named Mike Mills from 17th Street. And I'm sitting there going back and forth, and they're coming over and looking at my stew pot. The stew pot I had was 95 gallons, right? It takes two
Right.
people to stir it. But I about burned up the sidewalk going back and forth, I'll never forget this. Mike Mills was demoing an Ultra Q that had his nameplate on it. And when he was done, I walked over. I said, "You don't want to take that back to Illinois, do you?" He goes, "No, I don't." He had two guys pick it up and put it on the back of my barbecue trailer, or my stew pot trailer.
Right.
And I drove that thing. At first, I will tell you that to buy straps in New York, to find a hardware store in New York City and Manhattan,
Kind of hard.
It was expensive really fast.
I bet.
But got it home. 2 weeks later, I got an invoice for it. So it wasn't like it was free.
Right.
But they did give it to me at a nice price. And that is between that and a Lang 60 were the two smokers that I had to start now. Going into it a few years, all the friends that would stay up late with me and keep that Lang 60 fed with firewood, their kids started getting into sports, so they started dropping off. And I started depending upon that the old hickory a little bit more. And I realized just how great that thing was for fuel management and flavor and everything else. So I said, you know what? I want one that I can cook all four meats on. So I took it. I took all the measurements off of it, sat down with a buddy of mine here in Richmond that designs race car frames. And he put it in. He took the drawing and put it into a CAD program. The CAD program kicked it out and put it on a plasma cutter table, and it took us 3 months worth of nights and weekends to weld it up and put it together.
Right.
That was in 2012, and I'm still using that today. It's got over 325 competition cooks on it.
Wow.
For some reason, it just still works. So,
Yeah.
There, I just cursed myself. You watch the next competition, the rotisserie motor is going to go out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I love mine. I've got a Cadillac cooker, so it's out of Sikeston, Missouri. It's a 36-inch barrel, 42-inch wide, got 4 racks in it. We spin this thing almost 2 RPMs a minute, so it's really good movement of heat.
Fast.
It's pretty quick, and it moves
That's
the
your
smoke.
convection.
That's my convection, and it moves the heat really well. I've got a 5-inch opening on the back, and it's all insulated. The whole firebox in the back's got 2 inches of insulation everywhere around the firebox. And I bought one from him, and I was like, man, your firebox design sucks. So can you build me a new one? Yeah. So he said, you draw it, I'll build it. So I love the rotisserie part. I needed him to do something with the firebox. And it's got a little 5-inch opening. And man, that food is just, it passes it so quick. And that's all I've ever cooked on is that rotisserie. And I absolutely love that thing.
So mine cooks at 1.2 RPMs. If you look
Okay.
at the gear reduction, that's just what it ended up being for the motor that I put in there.
Right.
And the motor is actually the same motor that apparently they put in. I got it off Granger.
Yeah.
That spins like if you've got a sign on a highway that spins around, it's
Yeah.
the motor that spins around those signs. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that it's got a good lifetime to it.
Yeah.
I did the best I could to insulate it from all the heat, and like I said, it's done me well so far.
Yeah. It's a Dayton. I think it's a Dayton motor because I was up there and I was like, man, why don't you go and give me an extra motor? I'll have one with me. I don't know. Like you, I need to keep my mouth shut. Knock on wood. I mean, never had no problems.
$200.
Yeah, they're not cheap. But I bought it 8 years ago, and man, it's just sitting over there in the shop. And it ain't gonna go bad sitting there. So let's see. What's plan B if the motor quits at a contest? Well,
I actually had that happen at a cooking class. The motor didn't break. I don't know if yours will do this, but if you don't load the shelves evenly, as in if you put something, the shelves too much weight to the front or the back, the shelves off balance will, just take when they're level, they'll go around just fine. But if you have one curved, it'll catch, it'll turn it, and it'll dump everything into the water pan in the bottom.
Right.
When that happens, the rotisserie stops spinning, and the shaft broke that drives the rotisserie. So what could we do? We put the shelves back on there, turn the motor off, and we'd open it up about every 10 or 15 minutes, and we'd spin things around by hand to get through the class.
Yeah.
And, one of my mentors, Tuffy Stone, it's all in how you handle catastrophes.
That's right.
So we made it work. And I don't want it to ever happen again. I mean,
right.
I don't keep extra shafts just laying around sitting in my trailer. But
what shaft did it break?
The drive shaft for the rotisserie.
The drive
So
shaft
that,
for the rotisserie. Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
where the I've got it's a belt drive. I decided not to
Okay.
use a chain drive. It's a
Okay.
belt drive. So you've got a center shaft that goes through
Right.
a bearing
Yep.
through the side of the cabinet,
Yep.
and that drives the whole rotisserie going in.
Right.
And where that shaft connects, I just got lucky because where I drilled and put the pen through is a Carter key. That way you can pull that out and pull the hubs out, and you can pull the whole thing apart to wash it. Made
Right.
it easy to clean.
Right.
Where the pen goes through, it was so close to the end of the shaft, it just sheared it.
Okay. Okay.
So it could have been a lot worse if it had not broken in such an easy spot.
Yeah. See, mine is shaft goes all the way through. Everything's welded to it,
Yep.
and then I chain drive. The motor's down on a bracket with a sprocket there, and now we've got a deal on mine. If the motor kicks up from like anything, it's got a switch that kills it.
Okay.
So it's on a spring, and if there's anything binds up and it pulls that motor up from like it binding, it raises up. When it raises up, it's got a kill switch, and it kills it, and it keeps from dumping everything. So it was a pretty cool design the way that they did that. So anyway, but yeah, I'm like you. I don't want no problems.
Maybe I'll put that in version 2.0.
There you go. It's a simple, it's an easy fix, but you have it on a plate, and if it lifts up, then and that's it. It's got a kill switch. It hits it. So anyway, but yeah, they're a good cooker. I mean, I love mine. It cooks so even. It's just a wood fired convection oven, and man, my ribs are done the same every single time. I can put them on there, hour and a half on smoke, 2 hours and 15 minutes wrap. They're done. I mean, every time they're done. So. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Have you ever done a drum? Have you always done a rotisserie?
I do all my test cooks, recipe developments on Oklahoma Joe's, the Bronco Pros. I
Right.
love those. I was just talking to the rep the other day. They're changing over to a new design. So the Bronco Pros, I don't think are going to be around anymore. What they have in inventory, they're done with.
Okay.
So the new ones look pretty neat, but I found that I can duplicate the flavors that I'm looking for, the cooking times and whatnot. And of course, I've got two Jambos from one I got from Jamie Gear, one I got from Tommy Houston.
Okay.
If you recognize that name, Checker Pig.
Mm-hmm.
That's my Memphis and May rig. I take those down when I do Memphis and May.
Okay, that's interesting. That is interesting. Yep. So let's talk a little bit about KCBS real quick. So you're on the board.
I am my last year.
Last year on the board. You're probably like, whoo! So I know y'all rolled out some new chase year, and we were kind of talking about that. And I'll let you kind of tell that story, what your thought process was, how and how y'all redeemed it, which I thought y'all really handled that very well and very quick.
Well, I wanted to just sit there and say that we've done this before. We just our April Fool's post went out too early, but we couldn't get away with that. All right, if everybody remembers back when we did our World Invitational and our banquet together. When we had it at the end of the year, we needed to move the date up so that we could do all the trophies and everything for the banquet. So we went off of the calendar year to move it back to where we have it now, October 31st. And it didn't work out the way we had hoped it to. Having the banquet and the invitational at the same time. People they either want to compete or they want to accept their trophies and party and celebrate. They don't want to do both at the same time. Okay, great, makes sense. So now that we're moved to our World Invitational that we have in May, coming up in Lebanon this year here, May 23rd, I think, coming up soon. We wanted to move it back to the calendar year. We've known we've had to do this for a while. So we're in our February board meeting, and me with my head up my ass, I'm sitting there as a cook team, thinking that, well, I haven't done any contests yet. It's still the beginning of the year. So when they brought it out, when we brought it up and it was the end of a long planning session, we're like, yeah, let's go ahead and move it back. Not understanding that for us, it might have been the beginning of the year, but for everybody else, we were already 3 months into the competition. Brad already had a huge head start, and it would have changed how he had to plan out his end of the year had we enforced that. So we listened to our customers and we changed it back, and sincerely apologetic for, like I said, having my head up my ass and not understanding, because we should not. We know better. We've made changes or tried to make changes in the middle of the year before.
Right. Doesn't go well.
It doesn't go well. So
right.
My apologies to everybody again for us, not stepping back and thinking, okay, we know we need to do this, but is now the time to do it? We should make it for the next toy year.
So it'll go in effect 2026. It's going to start January 1st to December 21st.
That is correct.
Man, that's awesome. I applaud y'all for doing that too, because I know there was a lot of people upset, and I was like, yeah, that's kind of hard. All of a sudden, you're fixing to tack on another 3 months on top of it, and that's already a grueling year. So that's good.
Well, it wasn't 3 months. I mean, it was just 2 months, right?
2 months. Okay. October, November, and December. Yes, 2 months. So
anyway. And it still would have been fair for everybody, but Brad would have to change his vacation schedule, and he didn't want to change his trip to Mexico.
Right.
So anyway, I'm not taking anything away from him. I mean, he is so far ahead of everybody right now.
Oh my gosh, that dude.
To worry about.
Yeah, he is like freaking on fire right now. I mean, he grand champion again this weekend. Like, dang, he's already got his Auto 7. So he got that last month. So, yeah. I mean, that is just insane to start August to March and already got 7 grand champion and picked up another one this weekend. So,
well, let me tell you. He flies in. Last time I competed against him was in Urbana. And he'll borrow drums, borrow a tent. He's got his little rental car. And, here I am, with my 40-foot trailer and, a queen-size bed in the front, because I live in that thing 30 weekends a year. So why not?
Right.
And he's out there with just the bare minimum and still wipes, just
kicks your butt.
He gets the GC on day one. So,
yeah.
It is beyond impressive, his skill set.
Yeah, it's just, he's on another level. I mean, that guy's just absolutely killing it. Well, talking about it, let's roll into the barbecue side of it. So, Texas barbecue is a little bit different than Kansas City. Not a whole lot, but, we do things a little bit different with brisket, a little bit different with ribs. So, like your flavor profiles and stuff like that, you cook a lot on the East Coast. Do you kind of do the same exact thing wherever you go, Kansas City or on the East Coast, or do you change things up a little bit?
I try not to change anything if I don't have to. First, for KCBS, our judges travel as much as the teams do.
Okay.
And, I've been very fortunate to be up on stage or right next to stage, with Fred, Fred Robles, who I, absolutely respect, as a cook, everything he does.
Right.
And, if he and I are in a contest and he finishes first and I finish second, we've even tied before. And I'm not saying I'm as good as him, not by any stretch of the imagination, but if I can hold my own in a contest with him, especially if we hit at the same table, I don't think that there's a whole lot of reason for me to change my recipe profile just based off of that, small sample set of experiences.
Right.
I don't have an incredibly sweet brisket in any way. I don't put a lot of sweet sauce on it, if any at all.
Okay.
It's very pepper forward.
Okay.
I think, that the injections I use would do well in Texas. I'd like to find out for sure.
Right.
But yeah, there might even be some teams down there that in your area that use my profile.
Okay.
So, we trade. We all trade ideas and things, go back and forth, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Now, flavor profile on ribs. Is y'all's rib more? I mean, right now in Texas, Louisiana, it's a pretty sweet rib. I mean, you wouldn't have ever thought that. Usually, like South Texas was not so sweet. It was more just like a very savory with a little heat on it. And I was talking to Aaron Leslie. We had him on our show here a couple of weeks ago. He's usually with us, and he said, "Man, now it's across Texas, south all the way to North Texas and over to East Texas. He said they are looking for a really, really sweet rib." And we started kind of noticing sweet ribs were really making a trend about midways last year. So are y'all running more of a sweeter flavor profile? Or is it more?
Everything in KCBS is sweet, in my opinion.
Okay.
It's got a little bit, the judges will tell you if they think it's too sweet. And I just had a conversation with somebody recently asking me what I would do if I needed to tone mine back a little bit and not make it maybe so sweet. One of the things that I found that works for me is when I pour off my juice from the rib, I'll pour it into a fat separator.
Okay.
And I will mix that au jus, if you will, after I get the fat off, about 1/3 of that au jus to 2/3 of my comp glaze. I use one sauce for all four categories.
Okay.
So I'm thinning it out with that a little bit.
Right.
And that's pretty savory. I mean, it's got some heat. It does have some sweet in it, but it's really got a nice porkiness to it.
Right.
And what that helps me with is when I'm doing my final paint on my ribs, KCBS judges will ding you if you've got too much sauce on it. It's thinned out enough that I can paint the sides and it doesn't look saucy.
Okay.
It adds moisture to it.
Right.
And then I paint the tops of it and there's no brush marks in it because it's thin enough that it just fades away.
Right.
It leaves with you something that's not too sweet. It's savory, but it's really going to punch you up front with pork flavor.
That's interesting. So so you don't ever dunk them? There's a lot of people down here dunk. Okay, so you don't dunk them.
No, I use a silicone brush, and like I said, 1/3 of our rib au jus,
third of a cup,
2/3 of a cup of our pork glaze,
okay,
or our barbecue glaze, if you will.
Right. Yeah.
And by the way, that's the same thing that I paint my pork with too. So when we're done with ribs, we just go right in and we use that same thing to do the final paint on the pork too.
Okay.
And it's helped our program. It's one of the things that we don't get that too sweet anymore.
Right.
But the judges like it. That's all. That's what I'm looking for is for the judges to give me some good feedback.
All right. So Samantha's got a stupid question. She says, "Does the beef or pork flavor profile change from state to state? Is one leaner than the other?" I don't know about leaner. Okay.
Yeah. First, fat is flavor. So if you're cooking anything lean in the barbecue competition, where you're trying to get the judges to be impressed from one bite, judges sometimes will go back for a second bite, but it's a one bite challenge for most people.
Right.
I'm looking for a lot of fat. I'm looking for, really, really well marbled. And I'm also looking to be able to render that out so that I get the flavor from it. Would remind me to talk about burn-ins after I say this. So, I'm not going to do anything. The flavor that I'm going to run on my beef and the flavor that I run on my pork has largely unchanged for maybe the last 7, 8, 9 years.
Yeah.
So I'm horrible about taking a class and learning something new and adding something to my program and not take something away.
Right.
So, where my sauce might have 7 or 8 different components to it, I could probably take away 2 or 3 of them and it wouldn't make a difference to the judges, but it's just what I've been doing. So stay with that superstition and keep doing it.
Yeah. I'm like you. I mean, I've been cooking the same brisket since 2018. I mean, it just does very good for me. And I'm like I said, I may make little slight tweaks according to how the flavor profiles and stuff may change, but it's very subtle and it's just enough to kind of keep it in the game. So let's talk real quick. And I'll tell you, let's answer the question on the burn-ins because you said something to remind you about that.
Yeah. I hear a lot of teams aren't cooking burn-ins at all anymore in KCBS. And I also hear judges, every once in a while they'll complain that, where are the burn-ins? How come nobody's cooking burn-ins anymore? Part of that, I think, is because we're all cooking Wagyu briskets and they are so marbled that it's really, really hard to render all that marbling out. But you can do it. I mean, I cook burn-ins every contest. I probably only turn them in 1 out of 5 contests. And something that I noticed that, even with the super well marbled, point that you get really great burn-ins on, when you take that bite and it's exactly what the judges are looking for. There's still enough fat in there, rendered or not, that by the time you go out there and turn the box in, and remember it's the last category. So if you're the last one, when you're turning in, you got to wait for all those trays to fill up. Then you got to wait for them to figure out which table you can go to. By the time they get that, let's just say it's at least 10 to 15 minutes, maybe. Okay. Sometimes they're not, you're turning in brisket and they're still judging pork.
Right.
Think about that burn in, what it would be like if you set it on your counter and you walked away from it and came back and bit into it 15 minutes later. Would all that beautiful, wonderful rendered fat start to tighten up and gum up and go from a wonderful experience to something that
it's pasty and just tight.
It's pasty, it's going to stick to your mouth, and your scores are just going to go downhill.
Yeah. I remember talking to Lee, when he was doing his East Coast tour, and we would talk. I mean, we talk almost every day anyway, and he was like, "Man, I'm getting murdered in brisket. I'm getting I just cannot get my brisket." And I was like, "Quit putting burn ends in it. Just leave the burn ends alone. You don't cook burn ends. We're not used to cooking burn ends." I was like, "Leave the burn ends out of it." You think, but I was like, "Leave the burn ends out. Just try it. It ain't gonna hurt you. You're getting murdered. Try it." He said, "Okay." He went to the next competition. He got a first place brisket. He didn't put burn ends in it. And I was like, "See, I told you." And then he was doing the same thing with pork. He was putting all this stuff. I was like, "Lee," I said, "I've cooked American. All I did is put money mussels in it. I put 2 beautiful rows of money mussels in it. Quit putting all that bacon and this and that. Just if you're not doing good, the more you put in that box, the more they're going to score you on. Just concentrate on a really good money mussel." He did the same thing. He went out. I think he got like a first or second place pork. He's like, "I'm done with all that other stuff." So, I mean, to me, and it just seems like the judging, like what I may think is a good burn in, a judge may think, "No, this is over," or "This is not done enough," or whatever. It's just so speculative on some of that stuff. I think a good slice is just a good slice. If you get the tenderness kind of right on it, I think you're pretty good. And I think the same thing can happen when you start putting in bacon and all that other stuff in it. I think chunks you're probably fine with, because most of the time that comes from most of the time people use money mussel anyway. And so I think, do you see that, one of our cooks, Matt Overson, one of our SEA state cookers, less is more. You can you can have something that was really good, but you put that in the box just because you felt like you had to, and man, you get murdered, So what's your thoughts on that?
Your contests are won and lost in the last 5 minutes of you building that box. If you're not putting only the absolute best that's in there, okay, so maybe you only have, a couple of chunks of money. You got your 6 chunks of money mussel in there, but they're perfect and they're amazing. Go ahead and ding me on an appearance score, because, what's in there doesn't look appetizing because it's so small, or it's probably not a real fair reason to ding me on it, but they might, fair enough.
Right.
If I get the tenderness and taste score I want out of it, I'll give up an appearance score any day.
Yeah.
I do think that, and I always fill my box with brisket, and that's because I'm always thinking about what it's going to be like as it eats cold.
Right.
The more mass you have in there,
keeps the heat in it.
It's going to keep the heat in, and
Yep.
It's going to do better.
Yeah.
One of the things I like about having the garnish rule for KCBS is I do think that having that trapped air in the garnish underneath of it, when we're building boxes, since I have one, I'll take a wet wash rag in a plastic bag, and we'll put it in the microwave for 30 seconds and get that thing so hot that you can hardly hold on to it. We'll put it inside the box and close the lid while we're slicing up the ribs or whatever.
Right.
So that box is already warm by the time we go in and we put our ribs or our chicken or whatever we're putting into it. I don't like putting things into a cold box.
Right.
We try to preheat our box a little bit if we can. But I really do think that the garnish helps. First, it hides sauce. It hides sauce mistakes on the bottom. It keeps things from moving around on the inside when you're running to the turn-in temp. How many people stop and take a look at their box and see what it looks like right when they open it up? And, hey, is everything still in the right place, before they shut the lid on it and hand it into the turn-in table? Right. So that's one of the things people give KCBS contests, it's optional. You don't have to do it. But to me, I think there's an advantage to having that garnish in there.
Yeah, it does keep it from moving around. There's no doubt. I mean, once you kind of set it down in it, it's kind of encased on the bottom, and it doesn't really have a chance to move around a whole lot.
Yeah.
So, and I'm definitely with you on that. Like I said, I only do the only KCBS I do is the American Royal. And last year when we was there, I still had my deadgum kill boxes in the ice chest. And I mean, I'm getting ready to turn stuff in. I was like, oh crap, I was supposed to take these out at 7:00 this morning and just set them out here on the counter where my wife's like, I was like, get out of the way, get me some paper. I got paper towels, ran them under hot water, literally set it on there. It would 30 seconds later, they were ice cold. Do it again, do it again, do it again. I mean, I did it for 5 minutes, just constantly changing out paper towels, hot, and I finally got it warm. I mean, it wasn't hot, but it wasn't ice cold. And I was like, at least it's room temperature now. So, oh man, I mean, I literally was doing this 10 minutes before I needed the box. I was like, oh my gosh, get the rest of these things done. So yeah, it's the little things like that can sometimes get ahead of you. So
our timeline says that we pull our boxes out of the refrigerator or cooler at 10 a.m. We line them up and we grade them. We want a really low box for chicken. We want a low box for ribs. We want a high box for our pork because
don't have a lot.
We usually don't have a lot that's going in there. And our brisket is really high. I want the slices when they lay down. You open it up. I don't want them to be in the bottom of the box. I want them to jump out there at you.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's the way you got to do it. I mean, you got to think smart, and just use strategy. So, in the warm up box, hey man, you got to do what you got to do. So. Let's see how my Chiles. Hey, Emily, how you doing? Have you ever got a chance to cook one of her cook-offs?
I have not.
Okay, Lee told me.
She asks me every year. There's a lot of contests around here that same time, and for me to drive to Ohio, I got to get through the mountains. And I'll tell you what, there's the worst part of a contest for me is getting there and getting home. Once I'm there, that's why I like doubles so much because I'm set up with pretty comfortable that I can cook 2 contests back to back.
Right.
But if I got to get up early and I got to drive to the contest and then set up, usually I have somebody there cooking with me, even if it's just a guest judge that's training for their KCBS Masters.
Right.
I'll have somebody with me.
Right.
But that's the driving always makes me nervous, pulling something that weighs 16,000 pounds, a 10,000 pound truck. And maybe it's not something I'm going to do. It's, what the other person's going to do that I got to watch out for. Right.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've got a 40-foot toy hauler and it's 16,500 pounds. And,
yes, sir.
Exactly. you just gotta be careful. And, I tell people all the time, I mean, watch out because, things can happen in a hurry when you're pulling something like that. So, I had drum brakes on it when I got it. It had 7,000 pound axles with drum brakes. And man, it didn't take long. I was probably, 2 years into it. And I said, somebody kind of pulled out and I couldn't get it stopped fast enough. I mean, luckily I stopped it, but it was one of them heart pounding, please get it stopped. And I was like, I'm done with this. I put 4-wheel disc brakes on that deadgum thing. And man,
what did you go with? Cause I just put Kodiaks all the way around.
That's what I got. I got Kodiaks. 13 inch Kodiaks, and I had so I've got a Grand Design 340/90 Momentum dual axle, and so when I did the brakes right before it, it's got the equalizer. I looked at getting the more ride where it was the independent. Man, it's very expensive and it's a 1.5 year wait, and you got to go to Indiana to get it done. So I was like, man, I like the thought of the independent. So there's something called Comfort Ride. And you eliminate all of your shackles in the middle or your equalizer. You don't have no equalizer. You got one channel that bolts right up to your frame. You use slipper springs. So it's got a slipper spring in it. So it makes them independent. And the only thing that you have pivoted is your shackles on the end, which they don't hardly move a lot. Then on top of that, it's got shock absorbers. So you can put big, huge, heavy-duty shock absorbers on all 4 tires. And man, you talk about make the trailer, no more hitting bumps and it bouncing or anything, no more equalizer to wear out. I mean, that is just so harsh. It's independent. And so I did that myself. It didn't take, I think it's about 4 or 5 hours. We had it all done. And then I took it down to go get the brakes installed. I was going to a competition and the guy said, man, we got a place that's right on your way. And I called him a month and a half in advance. I said, I will be there Wednesday morning at 7:00. how long will it take? He said, we'll have you out by noon. And I was like, okay, man, about 11:15, he called me. He said, come hook up, let's test them out, and everything's done. And, man, I absolutely love those brakes. Matter of fact, I just put a fresh set of pads on it. It was probably 3 years old.
How many miles?
Probably had about 15,000 miles on it.
That's not bad.
Yeah, about 15,000.
I have been told that people that have those disc brakes on boat trailers only get about 5,000 or 6,000 miles on some brake pads. For me, that would mean I'm changing them 4 times a year, because I put 20,000 miles a year on my trailer.
Yeah, yeah. You can easily get a year. And I don't ride them. I ain't aggressive. I mean, I just get it where it'll stop. You sound like you're probably reasonable, not slamming on the brakes all the time, but I tell you what, there's a couple times, I have had to stop fast, and man, those thing will stop my truck. I mean, literally stop my truck. And I use the engine brake, and I'm in tow mode. I put it in tow haul, and all that stuff gears down if something happens.
What year Ford do you have?
I've got a 23 F350 single axle F350.
22 F350 single axle dual.
Okay, there you go. You got duals. Okay, I don't have the dual wheels. I just got single. What's going on, Mr. Lee Hickle?
What's going on, everybody? Sorry for the late.
That's okay, man. That's all right. We'll let you in the game plan. So,
yeah, no matter how many times you see somebody's life go away, when one of your best friends passes away, it just kind of puts things to a realization that you better get your stuff straight. Chiles, thank you for coming on tonight. I'm just now leaving my office. Appreciate you coming on. I know it was a great show.
It's been good. We've been talking
Fords,
a lot.
But the Fords are the only way to go. Forget the Chevrolets. Forget the Dodges. It's got to be a Ford.
Yeah, Lee found out that. He bought a Chevrolet and about died. So, worst mistake he ever made. Like, no fuel mileage, no power, no nothing. So, anyway.
My King Ranch got stolen. I couldn't find another King Ranch F350, so I had to go with the Chevrolet.
Yeah.
And I hated it the minute I bought it. So.
Yeah.
But I'm back to a 350 again.
Yeah, they're nice. But yeah, if you don't have the independent suspension, look at that Comfort Ride. It is amazing. It rides so much better.
I've got torsion axles.
Okay, you got the torsion. Yeah, those are great. Yeah, same thing.
I've already got the independent suspension.
Yeah, that makes it.
I don't have shocks.
Yeah, with the torsion axle, it absorbs a lot of that. So, yeah, that's pretty cool.
I got rid of the leaf springs also, Chiles, and went torsion axle. The best thing I could ever do was go torsion.
He had to. So he was breaking leaf springs every year, at least twice a year. So,
every state.
Yeah. Anyway,
have another show just on trailering and tape.
Yeah. Oh, I'm really big going into the American Royal. I'm always telling people, do this. Maintenance. It's a lot. And I told Lee 1,000 times, it's a whole lot easier getting all that stuff done when you're at your house and you can do it than broke down on the side of the road somewhere. So,
do you have a spare rotor and everything else on your trailer? So
I've got a spare spring in case if I break a slipper spring. You're not going to find one of them. Lee he's broke 2 springs coming into our town, and both times he was 10 minutes from the spring shop here. And I was like, man, with the slipper spring that I got, you ain't gonna find it. I kept thinking, I got to get one. So finally, at the beginning of this year, I ordered one. So I got a brand new slipper spring. I carry a set of bearings already packed in a Ziploc bag. So if I have a bearing go out, I've already got bearing. That's about all. I carry a spare set of lugs. I got some extra lugs. You've got to prepare for that kind of stuff, because if you get down and you're broke down, now I don't know about if a rotor were to break, I ain't gonna carry no extra rotor. Usually them rotors are, man, I don't know if they would break. So
$259, I think, for another rotor, and you got your bearings and everything else. Because here's why. We shouldn't. We're here to talk barbecue, so I feel bad about this. But if you don't have a rotor and you have to put a drum back on because that's all anybody's got in your area, you take one of those disc brake pads off, you've lost your brakes for your entire trailer.
Yeah, that's true.
That line.
Yeah.
So just me thinking, I went and bought a whole nother kit for a whole nother axle because I figured all it takes is one time for me to get stuck on the side of the road out in the middle of nowhere,
Right.
in bad weather, and have to worry about waiting for 2 or 3 days for parts. That's a competition I've missed, or me not getting home to my day job.
Right.
Or even worse, what happens while you're sitting on the side of the road.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. And I guess a rotor could break. So, yeah.
Well,
Hey, Charles, has DOT ever pulled you over for being in a big rig like that?
not yet.
Yeah.
And I say not yet. I mean, I've got that's one of the reasons why I don't have any signage on my trailer or my
Right.
truck. And I've been told that once I open the door and they see that I've got a bathroom in it, that it's considered a recreational vehicle, and I'm exempt.
Okay.
But I don't want to get pulled over.
Yeah, I don't either.
Right.
I don't either.
No doubt.
All right, let's get some barbecue. Other than Wagyu, do you think the quality of brisket, primes, choice, etc., have went down? I think the primes are not near what they used to be.
When I first started out, I had a really good deal going on where one of the local places was getting I'm trying to think of the name of the brisket, but they were getting primes in for a local restaurant, and they let me go in and open up the cases and dig through those things, and I was doing really well with those primes. I was really, really well with them.
Was it Creekstone Farm?
It was Creekstone.
Yeah, those are good. Those were good briskets. That's what I started with. Those things are really good brisket.
A local restaurant here in Richmond, ZZQ, Texas Craft Barbecue. They were ordering for their restaurant, and they didn't mind because they knew which ones I was picking, and they would pay an open case price,
Right.
and I was of course paying a premium for the ones I'd handpicked. I got several brisket calls with that, but when they opened up their bigger restaurant, they went another beef company courted them, and I lost my chance at Creekstone.
Yeah.
So, oh well.
Yeah.
I'm using primes from the butcher shop. Some of y'all probably know Kevin.
Yeah.
He treats me really, really well. I wish he had a sponsorship program.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that I'm putting his kids through school.
Right.
It's all about customer service, and the price is what the price is. As long as I know when I open it up, I know exactly what I'm going to get. He's been phenomenal.
Right. So are you cook? I heard you say prime. Are you cooking prime or are you cooking Wagyu?
No, I'm cooking Wagyu.
You're cooking Wagyu. Okay.
And then Prime was back in 2015.
It's 2015. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I have noticed over the years the marbling just ain't quite what it used to be on primes. So it seems like the choices are barely a select now, and the primes are probably like an old choice. It seems like everything's been degraded some. So
I've been told, my friends down in Baton Rouge area that you just can't score with the Wagyu in IBCA. That you need a nice prime, and it takes a little while to find one, but that's what the judges seem to want.
Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, if you get too much Wagyu that's got too much marbling, it can definitely hurt you. So no doubt. Man alive. I tell you what, this has been a great show. You've wealth of knowledge. I know that. We talked about briskets. We've talked about ribs.
Everything from briskets to breaks.
The briskets to
How about
breaks. I mean,
How about turkey smoke, Chiles? I know you're an advocate and a great turkey smoke competitor. Have you talked about turkey?
We have not talked turkey yet.
yeah, let's talk some turkey because that's something a lot of people are really getting
let's
into.
go from briskets to breaks to beaks.
There you go. I love it. So let's talk about some turkey. So what do you do? Do you cook a lot of turkey breast and stuff at these competitions?
I will, for the first time in public, disclose my turkey secret. All
Okay,
right?
here we go.
Everybody turn it up. So first, I'm using the same thing that I do for my KCBS competition chicken. Okay, for those that have taken the class, and I've put some secrets out there, but it's the same injection, the same rub. I do not use a sweet sauce. First, I go to Walmart, and Walmart has butterball turkey tenderloins. All right,
Right.
They are about $11 to $14 a pack. Get them what's got a lot of date on it, and I'm looking for ones that you can actually see some marbling in there. I mean, they're turkey tenderloins, turkey tenders,
Right.
And they're big and they're kind of diamond shaped. So what I'll do is I'll take the diamond shapes and I'll turn them sideways, okay, and I'll use meat glue, transglutamase RM. You guys can find it on, it's called Moo Glue RM. And I go pretty generous with that. And I'll glue them together, trim them a little bit, and then I'll use a string to truss them and wrap it so it's round and it's a log. I'll have 2 of those. I'll take that to a competition and I'll cook them in the smoke with a little butter bath, just like I do with my chicken thighs, till I get them to about 125. And then I'll cover them. I'll spritz them on the top with a little, I can't believe it's not butter, right? Just spritz them a little bit.
Right.
Cover them super tight with one of those micro probes you were talking about before.
Right.
And I'll cook it to 158 degrees. 300 degrees in my smoker. I stop the rotisserie. Okay, I turn the motor off. I put the probe in, have it sitting there at the top. When it gets to 157 degrees, I'll pull it out of the smoker, put it in my Cambras, wrap it in a towel, keep the micro probe in there, and watch carryover take it to 165. Okay.
Right.
If it gets to 163, 164 or something, I don't get too scared about that. If you look at the FDA, it says 165 for 1 second. Right. You can do lower temperatures than that, but on behalf of the judges, I want to give them something that I know is absolutely perfectly safe for them.
Right.
And I do like it to rest. Once it hits 165, I'm going to pull back the aluminum foil, vent it, close it back up, and then when it comes time to boxing, first I'll cut the strings off. And I'll slice it about 3/8 of an inch thick into medallions. I mean, kind of looks like a pork medallion. Lay them in the box. And when I'm at home, all of my chicken trimmings for that same contest, I'll cook those in my oven with some Swanson's low sodium beef broth. And I will make a chicken gravy. And I'll throw the turkey pieces in there too, right?
Wow.
And I will make a real home style country gravy. Using some cornstarch and some flour, make your little beef first or whatever, get it nice and thick. And I put 3 different types of pepper in there. I put red pepper, black pepper, and the third one's not a pepper. It's actually Nashville hot chicken seasoning in it.
Okay.
It's got a bite, and it's thick enough that I can sit there and drizzle that across the top of the slices. And that's gotten me. It's
a lot.
It's really done us really, really, really well in Turkey.
Wow.
So that's it.
Lucas wants to know, can I get a plate of this for lunch? It sounds amazing. So you had me at gravy. So, wow, that's pretty cool. That's a process. That's a process. That's pretty cool.
It's not that bad. I'll tell you what, it's a heck of a lot easier. The Turkey Smoke was so generous when they used to bring us the turkeys there at the contest site. You had to worry about trimming it, injecting it. A lot of the times it would be frozen still.
Right.
Because they've got their logistics issues, making sure that it gets cold and everything. So I was pretty grateful when they allowed us to start
bringing your own.
I like to have all my meat trimming done at home.
Yeah. Do you brine or inject, or you do both?
I inject with my brine.
You inject with your brine. Okay. So you brine it and then take the brine out and inject it, or vice versa?
No, I just, what I used to use as a brine, I'm now injecting.
Okay.
And I don't.
So we have to buy his class, Mike, to know
That's
what
right.
it is for his chicken.
That's
that
right.
way we can do his turkey.
There you go.
So,
That's it.
I don't inject it really, really, really heavy because the Butterball product is already naturally enhanced.
There you go.
Naturally enhanced. It's already,
mechanically injected.
Yeah. So whatever they do to it, there is pretty darn good. And I've had a chance to meet some of the Butterball executives over the years at different contests, and they tell me that is their off the shelf. That is one of their favorite products.
Yeah.
And I can understand why.
Yeah. That's interesting. Wow. Well, Chiles, man, I really, really appreciate you coming on. I mean, it's been a great show and lot of good information. Like you said, we've talked from breaks to barbecue to beaks and breast and everything else. So It's been a very informative show, that's for sure, and you've given out a lot of information, and I thank you for what you've done with KCBS, being on the board, trying to get that going, and explaining, the little hiccup that y'all had and how y'all just immediately fixed it, and everybody's happy, and I'm excited about for 2026. I'm sure y'all are now. You've got what y'all was really wanting to get in the first place, and man, you only got a couple more to get the GCs to get you 7, so I wish you all the best. Do you have any sponsors or anybody you'd like to thank?
Oh yeah, I'm really fortunate. Royal Oak Charcoal, the Barbecue Superstore, Make It Meaty, Ames Hot Southern Honey. I know. I already mentioned Kevin with the Butcher Shop. He's not a sponsor per se,
right? But he helps you.
But his customer service is awesome.
Right.
And I know I'm probably missing somebody, so I'll say forgive me on that one. But,
there you go.
Those guys will take really good care of me.
That's good. That's good. Well, man, I hope I get to see you at the Comp Trail one day. If it'll be anywhere, it's going to be at the American Royal, because I'm not coming to the East Coast to tackle you guys. I'd get my butt handed to me. So, anyway, well, I really do appreciate you joining us for tonight. We appreciate taking a little time. Good luck for the rest of the year, and all the best to get that number 7 for the Jack. You need a couple more. I'm sure we'll be following you to see how that goes. So. Lee, thank you, brother, for joining us as well. I know it was a little late. I'm so sorry about your friend. And Lord willing, we'll be back here next Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. We got another great show lined up for you. I hope everybody will be with us then. And as we always say, y'all go out there, have a lot of fun, and smoke on.
Thank you.